seekers has been picked up and is heading to the Christmas Island detention facility. That makes 43 boats so far this year, a total of 5,800 detainees who've made the crossing from Indonesia this year. But that is nothing. The people smugglers are gearing up for a record run. As Brian Seymour reports, the smugglers, their boats and their new fast-track customers are ready to set sail.
People died last year alone. Then and since, well over 7,000 have survived the journey by boat. The budget to cope with this human flood has blown out this year by $1.7 billion.
In the last 18 months to 2 years, there has been an alarming upsurge particularly in Iranian asylum seekers.
It's better if I will go by boat.
Australians will be paying an extra $1.1 million every single day next year because of that blowout.
It might be almost the middle of nowhere, yet there's something familiar about this place. G'day, how are you? Yeah? Where'd you get this?
Australia.
Yeah, where'd you get it? Where'd you buy it? Where'd you buy it?
It's my father, sorry, my friend.
For many, the journey begins right here with the boat. This is the largest harbour in Jakarta for vessels of this kind. Now, since our visit here last October, over 5,000 asylum seekers turned boat people have sailed for Australia on 62 boats, some of them large enough to carry 175 people. And get ready, more are about to come. This video was shot by an Iranian man as he, his wife and their 2 little girls made their 4th attempt to get to Christmas Island. The next day, the boat sank, they survived and set about trying again. And they did get on another boat and they were arrested. The entire family, Amiri's wife and their 2 little girls, are in jail. There's no word on when the Indonesian authorities will release them. Here they are 7 months ago when we first met them. Today, their neighbourhood is even more crowded with aspiring Australian residents. Many have been refused refugee status and are still determined not to return home to Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan or Sri Lanka.
Now we will go by boat if we can't stay here a long time. What we can do?
Huda and Riyadh paid a people smuggler $6,000 US. First, they flew from Baghdad to Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. Then, they flew on to the Indonesian capital, Jakarta. After a couple of weeks there, they were told to drive all day to Muncuk on the west coast, where they boarded a small boat and sailed east to Surabaya. There they waited for a bigger boat to take them and 50 others to Christmas Island. But 2/3 of the way there, the captain lost his GPS and he became nervous and decided to turn back to avoid being caught. Huda says every few days she hears of another boat making it to Australia. She is sick of waiting.
I will try. Why they successful? Why I don't have chance? I will try. What can I do?
How much did it cost to get on the boat?
cost يعني السعر مالت اللي هاي
6,000 for one person.
Wow, that's too much money.
Yes.
How could you afford that?
24,000.
They tell me they ran a business in Iraq, affording them passage for them and their 4 children, aged 2 to 17. Will you try to get on another boat?
Maybe if they don't
like to reject us.
We met dozens of hopefuls here. This family from Iran tried in 2010 to get to Australia by boat, but were arrested before they could get on board. They claimed to be fleeing persecution in Iran, but the United Nations has rejected their application to be certified as refugees. The claim is not credible. The claim is not credible. I think you're a liar. That's why. It's the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees.
They expect to leave Iran and arrive in Australia in 6 weeks rather than waiting 5 or 6 months or 5 or 6 years.
They are fast-track illegal boat people, mostly from Iran. Peter Alford is the Jakarta correspondent for the Australian newspaper. He says these asylum seekers are different to those fleeing persecution.
They're more likely to be middle class, they're more likely to be relatively wealthy, they're more likely to be economic immigrants rather than refugees or potential refugees. So these are people buying their way into a better future.
Here is where they find the men who put them on a boat. Jalan Jaksa in Jakarta is teeming with settlers from Afghanistan, Iran and Iraq, and people smugglers. We left here with contacts for 5 smugglers.
I tried to get to Australia so many times.
By boat? By boat? How many times?
Actually, I don't care.
But how many times?
I tried twice.
Adam told us he'd worked with the Australian Federal Police, helping by finding smugglers and informing the police of their identity and whereabouts.
I say, you want to catch him? He say, no, I'm not looking for this one. My case is somebody else. I say, what?
We made contact with one smuggler on his phone, but he panicked and hung up.
You call with the private number?
Yeah.
Ah, he was scared from that.
Since we returned to Australia, a boat loaded with 88 people was intercepted yesterday, and rumours abound of another 5 boats detected by border security forces.
We put up to maximum 15 years of sentence and a 1.5 billion rupiah fine as a maximum fine for the people smugglers.
Hongki Jawanda is a senior official with Indonesia's Directorate General of Immigration. What would you say to Australians watching this who think maybe Indonesia doesn't do enough to stop the boats?
Kalau kami tidak cukup serius.
If we're not taking this seriously, then we would have let gone all those asylum seekers go to Australia.
It is very clear that most of the Hazara people who come here from Afghanistan and Pakistan, when they say they can't go back, they genuinely cannot go back. Their lives are at risk.
Peter Alford believes the government could all but end the boat trade by issuing hundreds of visas, so the passengers don't need to rely on the smugglers.
They all know that it is a risk. So if there's a legitimate prospect, however small, that they will get a visa, then they will tend to want to wait around for it.
I think all that would do would provide a magnet for more people to come down in the region.
Opposition immigration spokesman Scott Morrison rejects the Labor government's claim that it's his side's fault this problem grows worse, because Tony Abbott refused to sign off on the Malaysia deal, which would have seen the detention centre on Nauru reopened.
In the last 6 years of the Howard government, less than 300 people turned up. We had an average of around about 3 boats per year. I mean, it's not uncommon to see 3 boats in a day under this government. I mean, on some days we've had more people turn up in 24 hours than in the last 6 years of the Howard government.
And after all that's been said and done, the failed plans with Bali, East Timor, Manus Island, the Malaysia solution, hundreds lost at sea, billions diverted to assessment and accommodation, still they come in ever greater numbers. They wait until nightfall to board another boat and hope they will live to see another day.
And after that investigation, Brian Seymour forwarded details of 5 people smugglers to the Australian Federal Police, and its task force is now working with Indonesian authorities. Now to the question we put to you last night